right, Keith.
All right.
So you've been in office for about 6 months now.
I have, yes.
And can you talk to me about some of the improvements you've made in Ward 1 since then?
Oh, you had to begin with a tough question.
I did.
Well, there's been a few things. There's still a long way to go. Getting anywhere in our community, Ward 1, across the city, into Toronto, Vaughan, anywhere, is very, very difficult. The corner of John and Johnson, where those two streets meet, is habitually backed up for morning rush hour and evening rush hour. I had our traffic engineers paint the roadway where those two roads, those two streets intersect, put up some signs that say do not block intersection, and remarkably, for very little cost and very little effort, we've managed to help address some of the congestion that's been such a bottleneck at that intersection. Drivers are very good. They will not block the intersection. It's allowing traffic to flow a little bit more smoothly. So that's one localized improvement that I think really stands out.
Now we're here. We're at the York Farmers Market.
Yes.
It's one of the few places I have not been to.
Really?
I've never been to the York Farmers Market, and I'm surprised to see
And how old are you, Michael?
I'm 19, which is so hard to believe.
19 years and you've never been in the market?
I've never been in the market.
Your parents never dragged you to the market?
No, never.
Wow. All right.
That's something interesting about me, and there's a lot to explore here that I haven't seen before. Have you been here before, and what do you like most about the York Farmers Market?
Well, I'll tell you, yes, I've been here many, many times. I've lived in Thornhill in Ward 1 for 31 years, and the market has been a fixture in this community, I think going on 60 or 60 plus years.
Wow.
So what's nice about a farmer's market is the effort that they put into selling their goods and their produce is all focused on the quality of the product and less on decor and marketing and all the sort of fancy frills rather. So it's been great. It's an eclectic group of vendors selling things that in a lot of cases are either homemade, certainly homegrown, that you can't get really anywhere else. And the farmers market, I mean, they go back hundreds of years, and we are so fortunate to have one right here in Ward 1.
For sure. Just as soon as I walked in, I was like, wow, there's a Cobb's bread here? No way. Like, you know, my mom and dad love Cobb's bread and they get it every time, but that was one thing that kind of clicked for me.
Yeah. There's teas, I mean, just looking around, there's juices, there's all kinds of things. Meats and wares and homemade items and breads, all kinds of things. It's just a great place to come and do your shopping.
And in terms of shopping, we're going to be having Stuart Carroll, who's the president of the York Farmers Market.
I'm here with Stuart Carroll at the York Farmers Market, which has been a staple in Ward 1 in Thornhill for
since 1953.
1953, so long before I was born.
Yeah.
And you too.
And me too, yes.
Yeah. So how did you come about having a business here, Stuart?
I was told to come here. My dad woke me up and said, let's go. I have been here myself for 47 years.
Wow.
Yeah. The butcher shop was originally owned by a guy by the name of Nels Gage, who sold it to a guy by the name of Jimmy Adams, who sold it to my father. So that sign used to say, Colin Carroll and Sons Butcher.
Okay.
I'd like to know where my brothers are because it was always just me.
Really?
So I took over from my father in 1984.
Okay.
But I've been here since I was 11 years old.
Wow.
And originally started, we were just right here. That was it.
Right.
And we actually, when I first started working, we had a pork counter over this side. But then we slowly expanded and expanded and expanded, and here we are today.
Fantastic. So you've seen a lot of change. Obviously, a lot of change in the neighborhood.
Very much.
A lot of change here at the market.
Yeah.
Why would someone want to come to the market, do you think?
I've always
as opposed
felt like
to someplace else.
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, first off, if you go to a chain store, I mean, I can speak for produce, I can speak for food.
Right.
You walk into a chain store, you buy a piece of meat. It's wrapped in plastic on a styrofoam tray.
Right.
You take it home, you don't like it, it's tough, you're not happy. Next time you go back, you buy something else.
Right.
Here, you buy a piece of meat and you're not happy, you come back, you tell me, you talk to me. There's a lot to be said for the personal service.
I agree.
Thornhill, it's almost like we've become a meeting place. People come Saturday mornings, they grab a coffee, they walk around. Sometimes they don't even buy anything. They meet at the market on Saturday morning.
Right.
So
So it's a nice tradition.
it's very much so.
You know, I've of course, during the campaign last year, I knocked on a lot of doors, and people talked about local business in the ward and what was available to them. A lot of people, surprisingly too, know of people who have lived in Thornhill for decades, have moved away, downsized, let's say, but yet still come back to the market to shop.
I know this. It keeps me very busy. I have people coming from all over, and the problem is well, not a problem. It's a good thing. They'll call me first, place a huge order. So as well as the normal business we're doing a lot of orders for people that are outside of town, and it's even got to the point where I've got customers that they're much older now. When they were younger with their families, they shopped here, and now they just buy a little bit of meat. But I've even got to the point where they have my cell phone number, and if they want me to, I'll take it right to their house.
That's fantastic.
There's a lot to be said for the business they gave me for years and years, and I don't forget things like that.
Right. Well, loyalty is really
it's
important.
Huge. It's
so
huge.
tell me, why would people buy from you? I know you talked a little bit about it in terms of the quality of the product and the customer service, but why here?
I think the big difference is in the sourcing. I'm very big on knowing where my animals come from, where they're raised, try to keep the footprint down so that I'm not bringing in lamb from New Zealand or beef from Australia.
Right.
All my stuff's local. The only thing I could say that isn't really local would be my beef. A lot of my beef comes from Prince Edward Island. People say, well, why don't you buy local? I'm like, well, how many cattle did you see on your way to work this morning? And the big thing with the beef out of Prince Edward Island, corn isn't good for cattle. Corn causes bloat. Because of that, they put antibiotics in the feed to counteract the bloats. And this is where the whole antibiotics got a bad name.
Right.
Antibiotics are a good thing. We give our kids antibiotics to stop them from being ill, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
It's just the excessive use of it.
Right.
So in Prince Edward Island, they have an excess of potatoes. So they finish their beef on potatoes and barley. Because of that, they don't need to put antibiotics in the feed because it doesn't cause bloat. So
I did not know that.
yeah, so
Boy,
that's
interesting.
Yeah, and I know I've met the farmers in Prince Edward Island. I've actually gone out there a couple of times. My chicken comes from places that are local. My lamb comes from Newmarket. So
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay, good to hear.
and everything I sell is 100% guaranteed. If you're not happy, you come back, you tell me I replace it, or I
Boy.
give you your money back, whatever.
It's
you
a
want.
pretty generous offer.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So we talked about your business. We talked a little bit about the market. You're the president of the market.
I am.
Right?
I'm president since 1953. I'm president number 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the only way out is to die.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen
Yeah,
anytime
hoping
soon.
that doesn't happen.
So tell me, speak on behalf of the market. What else would people come here for?
We have excellent cheeses. We have excellent co-cuts. We have a lot of Cobb's breads here, which is huge. We have a couple other bakers. We've got Danish Pastry, Hanson's Bakery Shop, which is, I think other than me, Katie at Hanson's has been here the longest. We've almost like grown up in this building.
Right.
There's a lot of crafts. The produce is phenomenal. The garden center is just like, when we open the garden center every year, business goes through the roof.
I noticed
Those guys
coming
know
in.
the garden center business better than anybody.
Right.
That's Benedetto Greenhouses. So yeah.
That's great to know. Okay.
So
well,
it's pretty much we're a one-stop shop, other than your grocery items, So
Right. The only thing we didn't talk about were the hours of operation. So when are
Okay.
you open?
we're open. When I first started here with my dad, we were open Fridays from 4 till 9 and Saturdays from 7 till noon.
Okay.
And we had 2 cots in the corner, and we slept here on Friday nights.
Really?
I'm not kidding you. Over the years, it's changed, obviously. So now we're open Thursday and Friday from 10 till 7.
Yeah.
Saturday from 9 till 5. And it's now Sundays from 10 till 4. We started the Sunday about 5-6 years ago. It was something that we kind of fought. We wasn't sure we wanted to do this. We didn't really want, but it's you gotta keep up with everybody else, and it's become a busy shopping day.
Yeah,
it's a busy shopping day here too. So
Yeah.
Sundays are great.
It has. Okay,
So Thursday to Sunday.
All right, last question for you. You talk a lot about working here since you were 11 and your father and everything. Tell me, back then, was the snow this high?
No, because I was only this size, so it was like this.
Good answer.
Yes.
Thanks for your time, Stuart.
Thank you
Really
very much.
appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, take care.